folks weren't here could actually watch it if it works. Let's just do it like you had done, okay? So let's start from the beginning. And I think maybe a way to know what you're looking for, you know, I mean, you can make a list of what you're going to be looking for, I suppose. But if you wrote down the formulas, you automatically know what you're going to look for, right? It's going to be what? I want to calculate the discounted present value of future cash flows. That's all I'm doing, right? That's it. Only thing the cash flows are forever, okay, to infinity. So what's the formula for coming up with the value of a share of stock? You use what? Estimated future cash flows. Yeah, estimated future cash flows. And at first we assume they're going to be constant forever, right? So we take the estimated cash flows. You got a formula for coming up with that, which is just common sense, really. The formulas are. Okay, and you're going to discount that. It's in perpetuity, so you're going to discount it by dividing what into it? WACC. WACC is the weighted average cost of capital. It's our discount rate. Right? So we're going to compute our discount rate too. So if you take all the cash flows the company ever generates forever, that's what we're doing, divided by the cost of capital, what's that going to give me? What's generating the cash flows? The assets. So this is the estimated market value. And I've said this a couple of times, although the president's too rich in that, but in terms of time, so that's kind of unfortunate. Maybe for your quiz, we'll see how they worked out. But what this gives me is the estimated market value of the assets, doesn't it? Because I've got all these assets invested. What I was going to say is, now when I go through it and I talk about it, it's going to make more sense. So you now know how to do it, okay? So I want you to get this intuitively. So if you knew that, then you could subtract what from it to get the equity, of course. We'll use the book value as a proxy for the market value. We think the market value is different, we use the market value, okay? Right? If you had bonds or something, you determine what they're worth. And when you subtract that, you're going to have the estimated market value, obviously, of what? Equity. That's because that's the liabilities plus equity. That's not too bad. You really should call them up and see what they've got. Maybe they have something that's, I don't know what finance is compared to accounting, by the way. Unless you go to sales. You know, broker, do sales. But if you're in financial analysis, that's accounting.
Regulated market intern.
It's a what?
A regulated market intern.
Cool. That's kind of finance. It's kind of finance.
Do you know what Hunter Bosher? Well, he was there for a long time. I think a few other people are. They love it over there. It's one of the biggest.
They treat you really nice.
He goes out to lunch with them like every now and then.
And then whatever direction you want to go in, it works. It can be actually almost anything, no matter what direction you want to go in, it works. Finance. Yeah, so yeah, dude. I didn't mean to say don't go after it. Do take advantage of it. Just tell me. I don't think I went to the career fair, but I sure am interested. Yeah, so maybe they talked to somebody about it. All right, so divided by what? Number of outstanding shares. And that's going to give me what? Obviously, my estimate of the market value per share. We know what the market value per share is. That's the market's estimate, really, right? What it should be worth. Okay, so if we had all that information, so that if you know that, what are the pieces you need? I need the estimated cash flows, WACC. I need the estimated market value of the liabilities. I need the number of outstanding shares, and I can do anything, right? With that stuff. So then you can just start doing it, huh? Okay? So what's the formula for the estimated cash flows? Let's do that first. Where do cash flows come from? What do we think is the best predictor of future cash flows? Income statement or cash flow statement? Income statement. So what do we take? Operating income, we say, but don't take just operating income from the income statement. Take normal operating income before tax, right? Okay? And then you're going to take that times what? That's because you have to pay taxes. Now, I don't just take the net income after tax. This might be the net income after tax for a particular company when you're estimating it, but it might not be. And the reason is the operating income, you want normal operating income. Normal revenues, normal expenses. Got the idea? Leave out things that are one-time event type things, okay? And also, if there are items below operating income that are recurring, that are down in non-operating, like interest expenses a lot of times, you want to pick that up, okay? So what you think normal operating income is going forward, and then a normal tax rate, not necessarily what the tax rate was this year. They had a strange tax rate this year, didn't they? As in 0 or something, somebody said?
Tax rate, it was really low, it's around 13%.
Oh, 13% is real low.
The other years were like 20.
Yeah,
22.
so then you have to use your judgment, don't you, right? Or you can go look at the note, the financial statements, even a better way. You guys do better. Okay, so that's gonna give me a normal after tax, huh? Okay, add back the non-cash item. What's the big non-cash items you'd expect to see? Depreciation and amortization. I mean, you look at a cash flow statement, and that's a huge number for most companies, right? Okay, depends how much plant equipment they have, obviously. Okay, so when we do that, we're going to have estimated cash flows, so we can come up with it, right? Okay, what's the formula going to be for WACC then? That's the next one. What do you want to do for WACC there?
Cost of debt.
Weighted average cost of capital equals the cost of debt
Times the weight of the debt.
times the weight of the debt
All that plus
plus
cost of the equity.
the cost of the equity times
The weight of the equity.
the weight of the equity. That's it, okay? And that's WACC. So then, what we need to know is how we get our weights, right? How are you going to get your weights, do you think?
Figure out what your market value of the assets are.
Okay, market value, yes. So the way I like to think about it is just, this is the case, right? I'm going to get the market value of my equity, an estimate of that. That's pretty easy. It's market cap, right? But you can go look it up. But what does market cap consist of? Market capitalization.
Price per share times the outstanding.
Yeah, this is dollars per share times market value per share times number of outstanding shares. It's going to be the same outstanding shares as up here, right? Same one.
Say that one more time, please.
Market capitalization is simply how the market has capitalized the company. It's the number of outstanding shares times the market value per share. And on Yahoo Finance or any of the servers, right, they'll give you, right, that market cap.
Right.
That's all they did was they multiplied those together, so you can do it yourself. And I would, because you need the outstanding shares anyway.
Okay.
I do it and make sure I agree with the market cap, you know what I mean, just to keep it tight, okay? So that will give you that one. What are we going to use as a proxy for the market value of the liabilities, we said? Yeah. Book value of the liabilities. If you think that's reasonable, which usually it is, by the way, and that's the same proxy as we had up here, right, guys? And it's the same in liabilities, it's ending liabilities, okay? Add the two together, you get the assets, and you can do the weights now, okay? Oh, what I should have done is said, we talk about where to get operating income, where would we get the tax rate? We talked about it was different on this company, but how would you get it? You could take the average of the 3 years if you want, that makes sense. You could take what you think is a normal year. You could read the notes to the statements, and in the notes to the statements, they'll show you the statutory rate, 35%, and then how they're different and why. It's a really good idea in real life, okay? You can use the most recent year if you think it's a normal year, right? You're using judgment here, okay? But if it's a tiny one for this year, I don't think I'd use it. You know, unless all the years are tiny, and then I go read the note and find out what's going on with these guys. Okay, good. So we've got the weights now. That'll give us the weights when we do that. Okay, what's KD?
Cost of debt.
The cost of debt. What do we use for that? Interest rate times.
4 times.
Yeah, and why do we take away the tax rate? We don't have to pay it, right? We deduct the interest on our tax return, right? So if I have $10 of interest and I'm in a 40% tax bracket, the government picks up 4 because I lowered my taxes by 4, right? So the net cost to me is 6. You guys good? Common sense, right? Okay. So we're going to use that tax rate, right? Okay. And is that the same tax rate as we're using up here? Yes. Of course, it's the same tax rate. Okay. All right. And before tax cost would be just the interest rate. Oh, how am I going to get the interest? I think a good way to get the interest would be what? Take the interest expense. This is how maybe an accountant would do it. Interest expense divided by the what? Average liabilities. I made this all up all by myself. You'll never find it in a finance book. But you know what? Dan Bauer looked at me and says, yeah, that's right. You know, and yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you use that? Now, this is for a company that's already existing, right? If you're gonna start a new company, you'd have to use what you estimate their interest rate to be, and what you estimate their tax rate to be. Or if you're growing your company, right, then it'd be the new tax on that income and the new, interest rate on the new borrow. Does that make sense? So now we might go look it up, like in finance class, they tell you, Dan's gonna tell you that you go look up the bond rating, and you use that, right, what that rate would be. Of course.
Have you ever asked a new company, like, something like that?
Would I do that? No, no. We're gonna keep it this simple all the way through. It's kind of simple. It is simple once you know how to do it. And by the time you do the final, this will be a piece of cake for you. Okay. So, we got time. Okay, so, so we know how to do all that stuff. Anyway, what's KE? That's the other piece. Cost of equity, and we use the capital asset price model for that, which is everybody has to pay risk-free rate. Okay, if there's no risk, you get the minimum rate. Huh? Okay, and then everybody has to pay a risk premium. How do you get your risk premium? The return on the market minus risk-free, right, guys? So that's really a risk premium. So I could either tell you have a risk premium, or I could tell you what the return on the market was. I think in this one I gave you the return on the market, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. Probably on some other one, test or final, I'll give you the risk premium. It'd be much less, huh? Okay. All right. But that 1 times that risk premium would be what the market has. So what do we take times it for our risk premium? Beta, which is the covariance of our stock market returns. It's actually our dividends and our returns over time, right? Covariance of our returns with the market returns. Got it? All those getting solid? Making sense? Okay, first you get it mechanically, and then you get it theoretically, and then you really got it. Okay? All right, anyway, where are you going to find the depreciation and amortization? I guess we didn't talk about that. Cash flow statement. So, is this everything? Yes. I guess that adds up to 10 things. Yeah, something like that. So where are you going to go get them? Go to their website and go to Government Finance, right? Okay. Oh, what are we going to use for risk-free, by the way?
The 30-year treasury bond.
Yeah, I like to use the 30-year treasury bond.
What are you saying you get from the cash flow statement? I missed that.
Depreciation and amortization, because if you go to the income statement for it, it's probably going to be buried in cost of goods sold. Some of it applied in there, right? Remember from accounting 102, right? Or accounting 215 kind of joke. We apply a bunch of the costs into inventory, don't we? Right? Building inventory. Some of that's depreciation. Well, that won't show up in the income statement. It's called cost of goods sold. So it's hard to find. Sometimes it's not listed at all for a company, right? Lots of times it's not. But it's always on the cash flow statement. That's where we go there. Okay? Good. Right? Anyway, I'm going to use the 30-year treasury bond because I really want infinity, and that's the longest one. That's my preference. Okay? And I convinced Dan and David, and we did the paper together on that one too. You know, so if you go over to U of L, their dean, well, maybe their old dean, I don't think it's their current dean, was a finance guy, wrote a book. Guess what he uses? 5-year. Okay, fine. He knows what he's doing. It's okay. It's like it's your judgment. All right. Anyway, so I think that's everything. Okay. So let's do it for this company. We'll go out. Let's pull the piece of information we want. You guys write them down. Okay. Google search. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so who are we doing here?
Ellie
Eli Lilly.
Lilly company.
Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly can become a manufacturing company?
I don't know. It just says Eli Lilly.
There they are. All right, and then we come right up to their site, right? And what do we go to? Investors. So I've gone. And then we're going to find financial statements. You know what's really frustrating about this is it just looks so simple, and then we get the problems wrong. Am I right? No, we don't know. Okay. Actually did what color we come up with. There's a price if you want to use that one, right? You can write it down, 74.71. Where are you going to go to find the financial statements? Financial information, is that where you went? I don't know, I haven't been out there. Annual reports, is that what you did? Form 10K? Personally, I use the Form 10K instead of the annual report. It's just, if it's set up to operate well, which one did you use?
I just clicked on the actual 10K itself, to open the,
Just click on there, and what do you get it in? Oh, it's all right, yeah, it's PDF. Yeah. All right, there it is. And now what do?
the control F.
You can control F if you want, which would allow me to type in balance sheet, something, all right? Some way, you tried income statement, it wouldn't go because they probably call it a statement of operations, did they? Yeah, so, okay, so anyways, we could say balance sheet maybe. Only if I can type. Spell, whatever you want. Highlight all matches. That's whole word only. Whole word only. Whole word only. Should I do that? Might work better. I don't know. There's a few of them right there. Wait a minute, went to the notes. That didn't work. Did I get rid of that?
I think you're on it before when you start typing.
Oh, was I already there?
Second popped up, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the first one. Way to go, Keith. Or you do it like this. Before the notes, obviously, or the statements, right? It's still in the notes? No. Now I'm in the management discussion and analysis.
Should be high there. Like,
That's selected financial data.
I couldn't find anything else besides
Next.
that.
You just went straight to the balance sheet. That's note 14. Where's the balance sheet? Did they not call it a balance sheet?
No, that's all.
Did they call it a statement of financial position?
Yeah.
Oh, those trickies. All right, so how about statement of operations then? Or cash flow statement or something? I think that's kind of annoying, isn't it? Yeah. Try it again. No matches found. Good grief. That's because they spelled statement wrong. Does that look right? Okay. Next. Yeah, they're going to call it a statement of operations. This is all in the management discussion. I'd have been better off just go down about to page 100, look around down there. That's usually where it's at. Good grief, you guys.
Should have looked it up before you gave us the list.
Yeah. Nah.
Are we have to do this thing on the final?
Yeah, the test and the,
Like look it up?
oh, I don't know. Sometimes I'll give them to you, sometimes I won't.
You should be able to.
Why is this taking so long? Is it jumping around, going back and forth, or something? No, it's going on down, isn't it?
The only one I found was the selected. I looked at the whole thing too.
I give up.
I looked at like the quarterly reports. And
There they are, I think. No, that's risk management. In the notes now. Where's their statement at? You guys did find an income statement, didn't you?
I did the 10Q and it's a lot easier.
There's note 9. It was on the what?
On the 10Q.
Well, the problem with the 10Q is it's only a quarter, right?
Yeah, it's the annual report. I use the annual
Use the annual report. It was easier to navigate than this thing. Yeah. Note 3. It's got to be right before it. There we go. We're into it. That's weird, isn't it? There's cash flows. Statement of owner's equity. What did they call this thing? Balance sheets. They did call it a balance sheet. Oh, sheets, not sheet. Okay, comprehensive income. Consolidated statements of operations. I should have just, yeah. So I didn't have that part. Okay, anyway, we're there. So what do you want out of your statements? What'd you pick up? I want to see if the revenues are normal. Looks like they're about the same every year, right? Normal changes. Looks like it went down and back up a little bit.
the R&D is kind of.
Research and development, normal? We're bouncing around. Not too bad.
Look at the only year they
went down and then back up, right? Oh, you mean the acquired in process research, this one? That one you could say, well, maybe that doesn't look right, you know, but I don't know, they had it already, so that might be okay. Asset impairments, they have them all the time, don't they? It's interesting. I guess I'd leave that, and then other, that's really tough. So you know what? This looks like it's going up, that's going down, well, I don't know. This would be negative, those two, and that's real negative, so I don't know what to do with that. So what did you guys use? You just use the 2790?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty normal.
Yeah, it looks pretty normal to me too. Things went way down for them and then, you know, sort of stayed there. So it looks pretty normal. I think I'd do that. And then probably what's going on is there's probably something in the tax note that would tell us that they've got some carrybacks or carry forwards, rather, some tax losses or something like that. But you could calculate a tax rate here, and a tax rate here. You do that? Or you can look in the tax note and see what it is. Okay, so what were those percentages? 381 divided by 2790, you said 13%?
About 13.
Okay.
That was 20.
610 divided by, yeah, looks like about 20 something.
That was roughly 21.
And this was 21 the year before. So maybe we're going to be around 20. Is that what you guys used?
I didn't use any kind of average.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. Yeah, so you're assuming there's something normal about the 2 year. Well, then it would be 13. But that's all right. I'll accept that. Okay. And then what else might we want? Anything else from the income statement? By the way, what if they had big reorganization costs somewhere, or they had interest expense separate down below? You'd have to pick that up, right? You wouldn't just, in this company, I think you could just pick up the 2790, but you can't just use that tax amount. I think you'd use a different tax rate. I like 20% myself, or 21 or 22. Okay, then what do you want off the balance sheets? You do not want the assets, right? We want market value. Okay, I saw some of them glancing at them. They'd use book value of assets and liabilities. You don't want that. You want market. Wouldn't it be nice if you could pay the book value for something you buy? Market value would be much higher, right? Okay, so, all right. So what would we pick up here? We went with the liabilities. Did it give you total liabilities? Yeah, that up. And take the total current and the total other and add the two together. Yes. So 12,749. Better write these down, you guys. Did you write that number down? Or just there? We're going to use it in a minute. That income number. And then the tax rate. So let's use 21% for our tax rate. Good. Write that down. We're going to use it. 21% is the tax rate. What did we say the income was? 2790. Let's use that. Sound good? Okay. We use 2790 as our income right now. Good as any, I suppose. We use 21% maybe for the tax. You said it was 20 and 21 and or 20 and 22 and a 13. Yeah. Use 20, right? Maybe. Okay. All right. And then on liabilities, you want the beginning liabilities and ending liabilities. The ending is 8230 plus 12749, right, guys? Add those two together, whatever that is. It'd be this one, the current, plus this one, the non-current. Oh, and you were asking about interest. Which of these things have interest on them? This little tiny 6.1, right? These millions or something. 6.1 here, short-term borrowings, right? That has interest. Your accounts payable, no. Employee compensation, no, 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 no. Look at that. Look what the total current liabilities are, and only 6 out of 8,229, right, have interest. Does this have interest, the long-term debt? Yeah. So here's 8 billion that has interest. So anyway, when you add together 8 and 12, what are you, about 21 there? So out of the 21, interest bearing is only about 8, right? That'll give you a real low interest rate, right? Weighted average. Okay. Anyway, so, and then do the beginning too. Get the beginning while you're there, because you're going to want to get the average, right? So take 9741 and add 11,179. You guys are with me on that? So write down the beginning and the ending. You got both of them there? And if you want, you can calculate the average right now that you're going to use later. True? Oh, by the way, did we find interest expense yet? Was that on the income statement? It wasn't, was it? We're going to have to go find interest expense. I don't think it was in the income statement, was it?
I found it on,
Was there a note that had it?
yeah,
I bet it's in this other net income expense note 17. Is that where you found it? Yeah. See, so, you know, you gotta use your head on this, okay? Look around. Okay, so we're gonna have to actually go to the notes on this. By the way, I didn't look at this before.
So,
It's
quick
more
question.
fun. I've used it before, but.
If I pulled the annual report and it did not pull up 2015 and I used 2014,
That's really terrible.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you really do that?
maybe I did.
I won't nick you very much, but that would make no sense.
I was with her.
I mean, the numbers are close, fortunately, but I used
So now I'll
2014
know what
and
you
I
did
wrote
wrong.
it. I wrote it
Oh.
off.
Find your quizzes. You have to look at it. And write a note right at the top of the big, Steve, I used 2014, if you think you done, you did. And then I'll just laugh at you. Put your numbers in. You lose a little bit, but. All right. What else we need?
I got the number for the interest expense.
Okay, well, let's go get it up where we find it. What do you want first here? We did the balance, we did it, well, what else do we need from the balance sheet? Number of shares, maybe? 2015, write down, what is that? 1,106,063? That's probably not in millions, right, Zach?
I usually use the one from Guy Five.
Yeah, I would just like to make sure that there hasn't been a split, because everything goes crazy if there's been a stock split, right? Okay, you gotta be careful. So, yeah, sorry, look at this one, but I'll probably use it. Okay? All right, this is more recent information. What else do we need? Depreciation, here we go. There's depreciation amortization right there in the cash flow statement, so write that one down. 1427.7, everybody find that? If you just relax, this isn't bad at all. You go really pretty quick here. You can hang on to that.
Oh, you picked one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Use it until we're done today.
Oh.
You sure give it to me so I grade it. Get back to you.
So I can erase the right answers?
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so, is there anything else we need here? We're gonna hit the notes, right? What notes did you want to look at? 17's one. I want to look at the tax note too, about you guys. And really, in real life, of course, you'd read all this stuff and see what applies to your analysis. Anything, you know, not everything literally, but you look at anything you thought might apply. Let's see, gosh, there's always so many notes. Look at all these restructuring things. Inventories, financial instruments. Kind of goes in the order of the balance sheet, though, which is kind of helpful. Goodwill, get down to the bottom of the assets. Property, plant, and equipment. You can probably find the depreciation there, too. Because there's a borrowing. At the bottom. Yeah, before shareholders' equity, Goodwill. And then after that, before that.
Right before that, it was like number 8.
There we go. There's maturities. Okay, so if we looked at debt here, wow. Okay, there's the long-term debt, right? Here's what the rates are. On the short-term commercial paper, it's 1% to 7%, right? So pretty low interest rates there, really. Okay, and then on the long-term debt, it probably tells you somewhere 2.13 fixed rate notes. Look at that. 1.63 fixed rate notes. Okay, so you can look around. If you were to read this, you could find out what their interest rates are on different things, can't you? Okay, and so when you do calculate your interest, you can see if it seems reasonable. That makes sense? Okay, your interest rate. But remember, a whole bunch of stuff is non-interest bearing. Okay, so that might be useful to you sometimes. I don't know if we really need to do it here. But. All right, and then income taxes. Look what they do here. There's the tax, they're showing it. But they calculate for you somewhere. Oh, didn't they calculate for you the rates? I went right by it, I guess. No, they didn't put a schedule, did they? They just wrote it down here. Based on the rates, 35%. Mexican, Puerto Rican companies contributed 35, 20, 60%, respective salaries, and income taxes. Don't they do a reconciliation?
I'll take it.
No, usually there is one. It comes right after this. Usually you'd have what percentage of these are. They didn't do it, did they? I don't like that. It's not very good. I guess you had to calculate your own. And you could look at this and you could see what's happening. Here's the federal, right? Here's the foreign. Here's the state. And then there's deferrals relating to them. And here's the big thing. They had a huge deferral reverse out, didn't they? See there? That's why they didn't have any tax. Okay? And if you read this, you could probably figure that out, but I didn't expect you to figure that out. And then you wanted note 17 too, was it? Is that the other one you want to look at?
Yeah.
What I like about having you guys do this at this point too is this is probably the first time you really used a financial statement, isn't it? You know, you're actually making some decisions using, and you get an idea of what it looks like in here. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay, here we go. Look at that. Interest expense is how much? 161.2. Boom. We got our interest expense. Okay? You can always find it. What have we not gotten so far? Is that it for the financials? Yeah, maybe. Oh, let's calculate what our average interest rate is. What's 161.2 divided by that average debt? Average debt you came up with. How much was that?
The average I got was 15,637.9.
Okay, divide that into 161.
1.1.
161.2. It's about 1.1 before tax. Does that make sense? Yeah, because they don't have, only a third of their debt is interest bearing, and their interest rates are really low, right? Probably good. Sound good? Maybe that'd be 3% on average across everything that is interest bearing. That sounds about right. They're 1 to 7 on their current stuff, right? Okay, so just use your judgment, and then you won't get a ridiculous number. So are we done with the statements? Probably. What else do we want? Maybe done with finance. Okay, the state there, beyond finance. What about there? Huh, didn't do it. Forget it. Who wants me to type it down? I hate my dollar. I like dollar a lot, but I hate my dollar. Why can't they just come up with what you want?
I've got it up if you want to stop.
Where'd it go? I wanted to show folks who haven't done it yet where it is, but that didn't do it. Here, do this thing. I'm still in here. Where's Google?
You better go to Firefox instead of Explorer.
That's a good idea. No, it's our stuff there. Maybe we will. Okay, here we go. It still did it, didn't it?
Then you can go to.
But at least I can go up here to
bar.
search. Yeah. Okay. So, where do we want to go? Yahoo Finance? Okay. And what do we want out of Yahoo Finance?
Share price, outstanding, and data.
Okay, so yeah, we need the share price, number of shares outstanding, beta. So you type in the company name maybe?
LLY.
What's that?
LLY.
LLY? Okay, that's their stock index. Okay, so yeah, Eli Lilly and Company. If you typed in Eli Lilly, it'd still come up, right? All right, so what's the price we want? $74.61. What else do we have here? Data, look at that, it's almost nothing. 0.25224. Their earnings are real constant, okay? 0.25224, okay? What else do we need? Outstanding shares and where you're going to have to go. More key statistics down here. So if we go in there, we will find it. There's market cap, 79.02 billion. So if you took that price per share times these outstanding shares we're going to find here, where are their outstanding shares at over here? There's beta again. I like the other beta better because it's longer, right? More decimal places. Here's shares outstanding, 1.06 billion. So take one. What was it on the balance sheet?
1.06.
1.106. So they must have bought some back. So let's use 1.06 billion shares. Okay. And take that times that market price, which was 74.61. When you do that, do you get market cap of 79.02 billion? I'd make sure, and that way you make sure you picked up the right numbers. That's all. So that's the market value of the equity, isn't it? It's 79.04. What else do we need?
Bond rate.
Yeah, bond rate. Where would you find that?
Type in.
You can type in bond rate if you want, or you can go, used to be, you could go to finance right here and it would load up. Just doesn't want to do it. Okay. Maybe they changed it. Just the best just go to Yahoo Finance. Here though, market data, that won't work. Okay, on market data, if you click on it, it'll come up with it, right? There we go. Okay, so market data was fine. Or you can just type in trade your bond, 30-year trade your bond or something. Okay, so the yield is 2.73, that's what you want, right? That's what you would earn if you invest in 30-year trade your bond, right? So that's your risk-free rate, okay? It's risk-free because the government will pay you. U.S. government will pay you. And you can say we either print money or we tax people or we invade another country, but we do that too often now, so let's do that more. Yeah, we do the money. Okay, so now what do we do? That's everything in it. Right? Plug them into our formulas, and it should fall right out. So let's see what we get when we do it. See if you guys got numbers that look like this. All right, what's the estimated cash flows? Well, we got to calculate it. So what's the operating income we said we'd use? 2790 millions, right? Yeah, these are millions. Okay. What's the tax rate? We thought we should use 21%. Okay, 0.21. What was the depreciation? 1,427.7. This is one big company. Okay, so take 2,790,000,000 times, what would that be? 0.79 rather? 0.79. 1 minus the tax rate. They have a lot of international businesses where their tax rate's so low. And then add that to 1,427.7. What do you get? I asked you for estimated cash flow, didn't I? Remember? So, well, what is that estimated cash flow?
Before depreciation is 22,4.1.
This is
And after-
22,401. 22401.
I got to add the depreciation.
We'll round it up. So it doesn't matter. We can have to. 2240.1 plus 1427.7. You're all staying with me, right?
3631.8.
31.8. Okay, we'll use that, and that's in millions. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Good. So my estimated cash flows that I'm going to use up here are 3, 6, 31.8, and then I'm going to divide it by WACC, right? So now we get our WACC, huh? And we're flying. Okay. By the way, what's my estimated liabilities I'm going to have over here?
Which was
I looked that up, and I'm going to also do it when I do my weights. Right? So make sure you use the same one. Okay. What's the tax rate I'm going to use for the estimated cash flows? 21%. What's the cash flow or the tax rate I'm going to use for my interest? 21%. Okay. All right, anyway, so let's do our weights then next. I don't care. You want to do the weights next? You guys seem so excited. Okay. What's the liabilities at the end of the year? Don't take the average. You're valuing this at the end now, really, but it's the most recent number would be the end of the year. What's the liabilities at the end of the year?
16,202.
Okay, 16,202,000,000. Yeah. Okay. And then what's the equity? That's the market cap, right? Which is the outstanding shares, times the market value per share, right? Okay. And what was that again? What's the market value per share?
79.03 billion.
Oh, okay, that's the market cap. Right? Convert it to millions, so we're, apples and apples. Okay, what was the market price per share?
74.63.
We'll use that later, won't we? Okay, to compare our answer to when we come up. And what were the outstanding shares again?
1.06 billion.
Okay, sound good? Whoops, that's not dollars. Everybody got it? So add the two together. If this is what the liabilities are worth and this is what the equity is worth, you add the two together, you got what the assets are worth. Right? Okay, how much is that? I hope you feel like I'm going painfully slow. I do.
95,232.
When we're getting ready for the final, you will feel like, oh, for God's sakes. Let's go. Let's go. No big deal. All right, now that's 100% of what the assets are worth. Would you agree with that? You can divide 95,232 by 95,232 and find out it's 100%. Funny guy. 16,202 divided by 95,232. What'd you get for your liability percentage?
17.
About 17 or real close?
17.01.
Oh, really? 17%'s got it. Okay, real close. All right, and then, so it must be 83. I would calculate it, because they have to add up to 100. All right, I calculated too, make sure I didn't screw up my math. You guys get close? Some yeses. Okay, good. Your cash flow close? Yeah, yeah. The years don't change very much, do they? In this company. So, okay. So then what do we need? We got the weights. So I can plug the weights in here, can't I? I'll have 17% here, right? And I'll have 83% over here. So now all I need is the cost of the debt and the cost of the equity in one place. Okay. So let's do it. What's the cost of the debt? What was your interest expense, everybody? 1.1%. Remember, we calculated that by taking the interest expense divided by the average liabilities, didn't we? Okay? Take that times what?
1 minus tax rate.
You got it. 1 minus 0.21 we used, right? Use the same one, okay? And what does that give you for an after-tax interest rate, which is what KD is? We use K because C means consumption in economics, right? So K is cost. So what's 1.1 times 0.79?
0.0086.
So 8.6%. Whoops,
So 0.8.
Point-
0.9%.
0.9%. 0.9% about?
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. Okay, that's a good answer. Okay, good enough. Okay, so 0.9%. Get your decimals in the right place, like I just tried to screw up, right? Okay, it's 0.9%, which means 0.009, right? Okay. Anyway, so then what do we do for KE? It's going to be capped in. So let's go for capped in here. What do we got? What's risk-free? What do we come up with, guys?
2.73.
What was their beta?
0.25. Something like that.
Everybody write it down.
0.25224.
And you don't have to use all that if you don't want to, but it doesn't hurt anything. Okay, we're going to take that times the risk premium. So how are we going to get the risk premium for this company?
Return on the market minus.
Yeah. And what did I say return on the market was? I did here?
11%.
Yeah, that's just so people got answers that are sorted around each other, right? 11% minus what? The risk premium is what you get over the risk free, right? So it's 11% minus 2.73. So what's the risk premium we think right now? What is that, about 8%? 8.27. That's probably fine. A little high, maybe. Okay? So what you do is you take 0.25224 times 8.27, right? That's this company's risk premium. Does that make sense? The market's risk premium is 8.27, but this company only has 1/4 the risk of the market, we think. I agree, guys. Data is a proxy for risk. It's not risk, right? Risk is a risk to lose your money. Data doesn't do that for you. Okay? So, but probably you don't have much chance of losing your money with this company. It's pretty low risk. This is massive. By the way, real small drug companies are extremely risky. They have companies. Why? They only have one drug. Right? They're risky. Okay, their income fluctuates. What happens with Lilly? Some fail, some make it, but they eke out a profit anyway. Yeah, poor guys. It's terrible. Okay, so what is 2.73 plus 1/4 of 8%? Looks like about 5, huh? Is that what it came up to? 4 point something per capita? It's 2.73 plus 0.25224 times 8.7. So I was just saying that's about 2 and then 2.73. So what'd you get?
That's 2.08 or 2.09 plus the risk-free.
Yeah, this is 2.09. 2.09%. 4.82. Did you guys get something close to that? That's cap in. Sound good? Do not get frustrated with this, you guys. Here's use 4.8. Don't get frustrated with it. Work on it. Okay? Everything else. You're used to that with this class, right? I'm training you to go out there and work. Everything's frustrating. All your career is frustrating. Okay? I can't get it, I can't figure it out. And by the way, the thing that's the most frustrating is other people. Yeah. So now what do? We take 0.9 times 17%, and then we take 0.9% times 17%. Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
No, I saw it now. I was saying, where did you get 17, but I know.
So this one, so 0.009 in your calculator times 17, what would that give you? Go ahead and do the numbers. Turn one of them into a decimal and leave the other one the number, so it's still a percentage. So maybe 0.009 times 1/7, 17. What do you got?
0.0015.
Okay.
Yeah, now you got to do the decimal place. Yeah, 1%. 1.5%?
That'd be point.
Well, 17% times almost 1%, or 1/10 of it. It was 0.9%.
0.009 times 0.17.
No, times just 1/7. Maybe just 1/7. You don't have to move your decimal. It's just a shortcut. Otherwise, you have to move it over a couple places. What's 17 times 0.009? Not much, is it?
0.153.
0.153?
Yeah.
0.153%? Okay, it's almost nothing, huh? Well, there's almost no weight and almost no cost. What about on the other side? 4.8 times 83%. That's going to be 4% or something? 4.8 times 0.83. What do you get?
3.984.
3.984. Add together 3.984 plus 0.1533, and you know what your whack is. What'd you get? It looks like numbers that people got close to it.
137.
4.137? Okay, so 4.14% or something, 4.1, I don't care. Okay? That's about where you would have come down, huh? What do you do with that? All that work to get this, huh? What do you say, 4.14? Good enough. Okay, so now how do we get the estimated market value of the assets?
Divide the estimated cash flows by your WACC.
Yeah, you got it. Because this amount of assets, right, whatever it is, if I'm earning at 4.14%, will give me 3.631 billion, right, every year. Everybody got the idea? Okay, so how much is that number? It could be pretty big. 3631.8 divided by 0.0414. How many billions for millions?
Are you rounding?
Oh, yeah. What did you get?
87,724.
You don't really need the 0.6 probably, but it's okay. What's the estimated liability? Oh, we already knew it. We used the liability down here, didn't we? It was 16,202. You guys remember that? It's the same one. All right. So what's our estimated equity? 87 less 16,202, huh?
71,522.
522?
Yep.
Or 23? Or something, right? Okay?
Really?
Oh, yeah, still millions, all of her millions, good math. Absolutely right, 71.5 billion. Okay, all right, good. How many shares did we say? Well, we knew the shares, it's 1060 million, isn't it? And notice you got the shares in the same base that you do the dollars, right? You need that. Otherwise, obviously, it'll be up by 3 decimal places. Okay, so 1060 million. What kind of a value did you get per share?
$67.47.
That look good? I'll find out I made one here. Okay, but 67.47. Compare that to what the market thinks. What does the market think it's worth?
460.
Yeah. So what must the market believe? The cash flows must be more, right? Because we think the market agrees with us and everything else, right? Interest rate and all that stuff, tax rate. Assuming the market thinks with the same way we do, makes the same estimates we do. Now, what must they think about growth? Positive or negative? Positive. They're valuing more cash flows. Okay, so then what's the next thing that you would want to do? What do we have left?
Growth rate?
Yeah, let's go for the growth rate. There's only a couple things now. This isn't so bad, is it? All right, so let's go for a growth rate. Now there, what I do is I take my estimated cash flows and I divide it by WACC minus growth, right? Now what I really should do is take the estimated cash flows times 1 plus the growth rate, but it's more complex mathematically.
At the growth rate.
What's that?
Is that when you do 1 plus the growth rate, or is that?
Yeah, yeah. Take it times, estimated cash flows times 1 plus the growth rate. Well, there's two problems. One is I gave you a growth rate, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is you're going to solve for what the market thinks. Which one did I ask for first? I gave you percent first.
No.
Oh, okay, so let's do the implied first. Okay, let's do the implied first. So with the implied, really what I should do is I should put it times the estimated cash flows times 1 plus the growth rate, and then solve for G. Yeah, but it's a pain. So this is close enough. It's good enough for our purposes. So what I could do is, what is this going to give me, by the way? It's going to give me the estimated market value of what? The assets, of course, right? It's just that I don't have to earn the growth, right? Because I've got growth. Okay? Do I already know what the market thinks the estimated market value of the assets is? Well, of course. It's 95,232, isn't it? You guys know that, don't you? Because you know what the market thinks the stock's worth. You know what the liabilities are probably worth about. You add the two together, you got the 95,232. So assuming that the market agrees with us, 95,232, and assuming they agree with us on the cash flows, what do we think the cash flows were? 361.8, right, guys?
The 87 those are no growth. Market value.
Oh, yeah. The 67.47 is no growth. Right? That's no growth value. So now what's the implied growth? Right? Implied G. Growth rate. Okay? The estimated cash flows are WACC minus growth. Intuitively, if you're getting earnings through cash flow or through growth, you don't need to earn. You're just getting it through growth of the company. Okay, growth of the cash flows. All right. So what was that? 1.8 million, right? These are all in millions. So there is some WACC minus growth rate, right? That'll, on 95,232 of assets, will give you 3,632 of cash flows. How would you find out what that is? I just take 3,631.8 and divide it by 95,232, and you are there, aren't you? What's that going to be? That's what WACC minus growth is going to be.
Wait, why didn't you adjust the estimated cash flow for growth?
Because I don't know what growth is. If you want to be more sophisticated, you would. You'd have a formula, estimated cash flows times 1 plus the growth rate over WACC minus the growth rate, and then you could convert that to a formula that's solvable. You have two unknowns, right? Yeah, you could do that. So obviously, that's what you do in real life. I'm just making life simple for us here.
Okay.
Okay. Save you a little time, and you get a decent estimate, probably.
Okay, so it really doesn't, it's not that, so it's pretty good of a difference if you just do it like that.
Probably.
20% is your.
When you go to work, don't do this. Okay. You go to work as a finance guy. You're not going to want to do it right.
That's gonna be your.
It's no big deal. Programming a computer.
What's that? Our 4.14.
Okay, so it's just computation.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's.
All right. So what is that number, guys? What is that? About 4%? 3.8%. Give me one more decimal place, I guess. 3.81%. Okay, good. So what is that? That's WACC minus growth. What was WACC, you guys? 4.14. That's why I asked for one more. Minus some G is 3.81. There's not a lot of growth here, is there? Well, no, it's not much difference between our valuation and what the market thought. How much growth is that? What's the difference between 4.14 and 3.81? That's it. How much growth is that? G.
0.33.
0.33? Not much, huh? Anybody get 0.33 or so? Around 0.3? No? It destroyed you long ago? Yeah.
I got it wrong.
That might be okay. That might be okay. Depends on
I think
the
it's
assumption.
my tax rate.
Okay. That could have been. I'll put in your numbers and then see what happens, right? Whatever you guys use, I'll put in my computer program. My computer program, my Excel spreadsheet. Okay, got it? So I think they'd be around there. That's good enough. Okay, so anywhere near that number, I'll take. Okay, so then what? Or if you make different assumptions, you might not even be near it and still get credit. What else do we want to do? I gave you growth equal to what?
2%.
Okay, so what if it's 2%? What's going to happen here, you guys? If you expect to grow at 2%, this stock's going to be worth more or less. The market thinks it's only 0.33. More, a lot more. This is going to be a real, I don't know why I put 2% on Lilly. We're not going to grow at 2%. These take over the whole economy, right? They're huge. So what do we do with this? It's still estimated cash flows, right, guys? So the formula's still the same thing. But times what this time? 1 plus the growth rate, because we want a year from now, and then it's going to grow forever, right? So it's what it is a year from now. All right, and we're assuming growth forever. Well, so 2% would be more for a startup company, spiraling upward growth, right? And by the way, there are all kinds of models where it grows for 5% for 5 years, and then 4% for 5. You know, you can do anything mathematically. You can make estimates, put it forward. So this is just the beginning. Okay, then we want WACC minus growth, right? That's it. So what's the estimated cash flows again? 3,631.8 million, right? 1.02 times that, right? And then divided by what?
Divided by what?
4.14% minus 2%. We're right there. And what's that going to give me? That's gonna give me the new estimate with 2% growth, right? Estimated market value of the assets. True, guys? So how much is that? 3.631.8 times 1.02, and then divide that number by 0.0214, huh? So you can see it's gonna be worth a lot more.
Okay, so question. So let's say like you knew your estimated market value of like equity, you knew your market value of the like liabilities. Can you subtract, like, since the equation has to be equal, could you like subtract and get your assets that way?
No, you're going the other way.
Oh.
Liabilities
Oh,
plus equity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're getting is the estimated market value of the assets, and now we will subtract the estimated market value of the liabilities. Got it?
Okay.
And that's going to give me the estimated market value of what?
Equity.
Equity. There you go. All right. And then we're going to divide that by what?
The number of outstanding
You
shares.
got it. And what's that going to give me, of course? An estimated 2% growth rate of the market value per share. Yeah. It's another estimate, right? All these are estimated, of course. Per share, I guess. Okay, so let's do it. What's that number? 3631.8 times 1.02 divided by 4.14 minus 2%, right? So divided by 2.14. What'd you get? It's going to be much bigger than that 95,232, huh? Or the 87,724 we got earlier. Almost double. 2.14 divided in instead of 4.14. What you get, guys? Close to 180. Guys, that's loud.
173, 104, I don't know if that's right now.
Sounds good. Everybody else get something like that? Okay. Right? 173 billion, 104 million. If they had that kind of growth, right? Less the estimated market value of the liabilities, how much is that, guys? It's still 16,202, isn't it? Been 16,202 all along. Okay? 16,202. And what does that give me for the estimated market value of the equity? 173,104, less 16,202. You do a few of these, it's going to get to be just automatic for you.
156, not.
I see people screw it up royally on the quiz and nail it on the test. Give you a lot of points for this. Okay, good. And then what? Divide that by the outstanding shares, maybe? How many shares was it? Still the same, isn't it? 1060 million? Yeah. Lilly's shareholders would be thrilled with this value, wouldn't they? How much is it?
48.02.
There's my estimate. Estimated market value per share. Okay? And why is it so much more than the price that it's selling for now? Whack, it's only 4%. This is 2% growth. It's going to double the value, right, of the assets. Because they have so few liabilities, it doubled the share price, didn't it? What was it? We had 74.62. That's 148. Doubled it, didn't it? So close. Okay? Did you write all this down for me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Easy, huh? Kind of. If you do it a few times.
And the estimated future cash flows, I got the number right, but growth formulas, I put the operating income.
No.
You know,
Yeah. No.
so I've got that.
Suck for me to laugh about at least. That's good. All right. So what do you want to do now? Do you want to do some present value stuff, or do you want to do some stuff from 4 and 5? I told you on chapters 4 and 5 that we were going to, I was going to give you at least one problem where I give you a screwed up financial statement, you tell me what's wrong with it, right? And then there's a bunch of it. There's lots of stuff. It'll be a fun 3 hours, right? Like always. Be back. So, but this won't take very long. If you're really ready, you can how many points did I give you here? What is it, 25? And it's a fourth of the test, isn't it? This is 4 chapters, 5 chapters. I bet it's 25 points. Maybe 20, 25.
As long as we pull the right numbers.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
To go with the most recent numbers.
Yeah, mine's most recent statement.
Okay.
Each one of those is worth, what was it, January? Each one's worth 2.5 points. So if you did nothing else wrong, you'd go up on stage, you probably lost 2.5 points. I try to figure out where you made errors. Seeing you for errors, but not for domino one. Okay, you guys weren't very good at present values, I remember that.
Do you have my quiz for that, Keith?
Yeah.
I do, please.
Yeah.
I have 4 and 5.
I don't know. I forgot. I guess not.
Didn't pick up anything. Get rid of it. Why did you hand me those quizzes so we don't forget? Got them all. So which ones of these would you find the word? These sort of words.
That, retirement investment plan.
Okay, yeah, you want to crack through that? What's that?
Is the key to this quiz?
Yeah, you want me to read you the answers? Do you not have the answers yet? Never
No,
did?
you never gave us those.
I did not
Oh,
get
wait, you
to
did, you ran your own.
I did in a review session or something today.
No, I think
It's
you
in
just kind
class.
of
Oh, in
ran
class you
through
did.
what the
Oh,
answers
okay.
were. But not
You didn't like
how
work.
to get to them.
Yeah.
Which quiz are we talking about?
This
Quiz
was
6.
6.
Yeah. So you want to do the last problem?
Yes.
Sure, that's good. And what I suggest in this is just work lots and lots of problems. Just work lots of them. And you probably, people get hung up on computing instead of on understanding, and that's what hangs you up there.
There was a
Slow down
There's
and
a
read
class
it.
that I missed that you all worked through like this exact same scenario. It was
Yeah,
it's
really
recorded.
close. Really close.
It was
There's
and
also-
the recording was really good.
Yeah,
Worked through it all.
Yeah, worked through it there too. Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there now. Several versions of the same thing. Yeah, who cares if I change interest rates, I change the number of periods, and I change the dollar amounts? It's the same sort of thing, right? You can compute anything, you guys. If you evaluate anything, all you got to do is you got to know what the cash flows are, when, and how risky they are, and you got it. You got it made. Every single time, it's this: a future value some number of periods from now, a present value, which of course is now, right? An interest rate, a number of periods, and either an ordinary annuity, you might have these, an ordinary annuity payment, or an annuity due payment, right? And this looks so simple, and you've done it in a number of classes now, and then we give you something that's complex, and it all goes out the window, doesn't it? It's like, oh man, what happened here? And it's just keeping your thinking straight. And you're going to use a calculator, you're going to use a computer, so you can relax and you can let yourself concentrate, think about it, and okay, when are the cash flows, how much are the cash flows? Part of the problem is determining what somebody wants, right? So say in number 17 here, you're planning your retirement investment plan. Assume that you are now 22, you're going to make investments as follows. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10-year periods. I could have made them different numbers of years, it doesn't matter, right? And we've got different amounts invested in each one of the periods, right? Each one of those annuity periods. And when does it say the investment is? At the end of each year. What does that make it, you guys? It's an ordinary annuity payment. I know it is. Each one of those is an ordinary annuity payment. Assuming what? Well, it's the same cash flow every period. I made another assumption. What does it have to be? The interest rate doesn't change period to period, right? Okay, if it changes every year, then you gotta calculate each one independently. Okay, but how would you know what that's gonna be? You're estimating the future anyway. Okay, so what we're saying is they're gonna earn 12% per year, right? For the first, how many years? 30 years. Oh, and this is 40 years. And then for the final 10, you're gonna put in a lower risk investment that's gonna earn 5. And then A says, how much do you wanna have at age 62, which is, I guess, 42 years later? What is that gonna be? How much you wanna have in the future is a what? Future value. I'm calculating this, right? I know a whole bunch of these, 4 different ones, right? So it's gonna be 4 different annuities. I'm gonna have to calculate the value of each annuity and add them up. Right, guys? Okay. All right. And the number of periods is 10 and 10 and 10 and 10 and 10. So it's going to ultimately be 40, but it's 40 years, right? N is 40. So the future value 40 periods from now. Everybody good? Okay. But it's in 10-year increments. All right. I made it pretty straightforward here, didn't I? Okay. And the interest rate? It's 2 different interest rates. For 30 years, it's what? 12%. And then for the last 10 years? 5%. That makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the future value of the first 10 payments at the end of the first 10 years. Then what are you going to do? Leave it there. You're not taking it out. So then you're going to compound it for what? It's 30 years at 12%. We're going to compound it for another 20 years at 12%. And then what are we going to do? We're going to leave it there. And we're going to compound it at what? 5% for 10 years. And that's what it'll be worth at the end of 40. Right? We're going to find out what it's worth at the end of the first 10. Then we're going to compound it for 20 years, and that finds out what it's worth at the end of 30. And then we compound it for 10 more, and you find out what it's worth at the end of 40. It's that simple. So you got to figure out what's going on. You won't remember this, and I know what happens when things get a little complex like this. We try to remember how to do it. Don't go there, because they're all different. Every situation is different out in the world, right? Okay. Luckily, or we couldn't make a living. It's not a good one. Okay. So then what? What happens with the second annuity? I'm going to value it at the end of that 10-year period, except that's 20 years out, huh? So then I'll have 10 more years at 12%, won't I? And then I'll have 10 more years at 5% on that one, right? What about the third one, the third annuity there, the third 10-year period? I'm going to value that at the end of 30 years, and then I'm only going to compound it at 5% for 10 years, right? What am I going to do with the last annuity? I'm going to find out what that's worth at the end of 10 years, compounded at 5% this time instead of 12, right? And I'm done. Because that's, I start year 31 and go to year 40, I'm done. And then I'm going to add up those 4 annuities, and I will have my answer, right? That's how much your retirement would have grown to in that period of time. Got it? Pretty cool, huh? So, world of finance, you guys. Still, yeah, of course. All right. And so we know these amounts too for these. Whoops, we have those. We know these amounts here for these. Okay. All right, and we don't have to worry about it at present value. Why not? Because we're not calculating it. We don't have to worry about an annuity due payment. Why not? Because there's not one. Okay? So here we go. How would you calculate this? I think I'd do annuity 1. Ordinary annuity 1 if you want. Ordinary annuity 2. You can set it up any way you want. A whole variety of ways you can do this. Ordinary annuity 3. I'm just reminding myself they're ordinary. And ordinary annuity 4. There's 4 of them out there. Okay? And they're all 10 years. So what's the payment? Per year is what? $6,000. And by the way, it's really a good idea to figure out what that is in total. It's $60,000, right? You guys with me on that? So here's what I'm going to invest. Let's do that. And I know my future value is going to be an awful lot more than I invest, right? It's a high interest rate for a lot of years. Okay, so that's going to be $60,000. It's 10 years, isn't it? Got it for the first one? $60,000. just add them up. The second one is 12,000, right? That's 120,000, isn't it? Invested. You guys with me? I like to keep track of economic reality when I do stuff like this. 18,000. Okay. It's 180. Because our income's going up, so we're investing more, huh? As our career takes off. 24,000 per year. Okay. 240. Got it. Okay. So how much are we investing in total? We just got to add them up. 180, 360, 400, $600,000. Is that what we're investing over a lifetime here? Okay. Got it. Well, we're not a lifetime. We're over 40 years of work.
Are you doing, like 18, oh, okay.
I'm just figuring what the total dollar amount is at this point. That's a total investment.
No, I was asking where'd you get those, like, 120, 180, but I've got
I
it.
took 10 package.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, good. Now what do I want to do? I want to figure out a future value 10 periods out for each of those, right? So a future value, and what I'll say is this future value is 10 periods from now. I like to do it this way. You can do whatever you want. This future value here is really 20 periods from now because it starts at the beginning. It starts in the 11th year, right? Into the 11th year and so on. This is a future value 30 periods from now, and this is a future value 40 periods from now, and that'll keep me from compounding them any further, right, than I need to. That's good? So what's the factor that I use? This is going to be a factor for what? Future value of an ordinary annuity, if you want to use the tables. Ordinary annuity, interest rate equals what? 12%. Number of periods equals 10. Except this one's different, isn't it? What's this one? Still future value of an ordinary annuity, but the interest rate is what for the last 10 years? 5%. So be sure and do that, right? Use the interest rate that's appropriate, and N is 10. And if I give you a different number of years, who cares, right? So if you plug it into your calculator, you'd put in 6,000 as an ordinary annuity payment at the end of the period, right? And you'd put in 10 periods, and you'd put in 12%, and you'd ask for the future value, and it would come out. Anybody got tables with them? Did anybody use tables? Yeah, you did?
I use tables.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So let's calculate it both ways. It'll be fairly close. It'll be real close. Cool. So if you want to use a table, 12%, 10 periods, future value of an ordinary annuity, right? Ordinary means what? Payments at the end of the period. Due means payments at the beginning. So you got to watch for when the payments are, right? Obviously, because it's more or less interest, right? The factor deal. The first one. I didn't write that in your work because it's going to answer.
17.54874.
And if I give you one where you only calculate one, this is no big deal, huh? And I'll give you those, right? Two. I did on this test too. So what's worth $78.55? $10 invested, $1 at the end of each period for 10 periods, compounded at 12% interest, right? Through the end of that 10 periods. So what is that worth? 6,000 times 17.54824. What do you get? Future value 10 periods from now.
105,240.
That doesn't look like very much, does it? But boy, it's going to grow because we have how many more years left? 30, right? It's really going to go. All right, what's the second one? You know what? It's 10 periods of 12%. What's the factor? It's the same factor. It's the same one, right? I made this one really easy, didn't I? What's the third one? Same factor. Right, guys? It's the same one. Okay? So you could take that 17, if I give you a different number of years, or different interest rates, obviously it has to change. Okay? So, because the interest rates stay constant there, 12,000 times 17.54824, it's double that amount, isn't it? What is 210?
Yeah.
210, 480?
So what would be the difference between like the 20 period number and the 10 period number?
You could certainly do that. Oh, On this one,
Yeah.
yeah, but now you know what it's,
Discounting it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes, you
discounting
can, but now you'd know what it's worth at the end of, you'd know, you'd be calculating what this is worth at the end of 40 periods, or the end of 30. You take that approach. I wouldn't take that approach as a normal, right? This is, I think this is easier to see, maybe. So in the last one, 18,000 times 17.548 is about 315, is it? 315,720, is that what it is? You use the tables. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, but we're going to have a different factor for the final annuity, right? Because it's only 5%, so of course it's worth much less. What's that factor? 5%, 10 periods.
12.57.
12.57. More decimals? 12.57. Give me something on the other one.
789.
7,789? Okay, anyway, however many you want to use. So 12.57789 times 24,000, what's that? The more you use, the more accurate you are. If it was real money, we use Excel or computer or calculator. How much is that?
301,869.
301,869?
Yes.
Look what that interest rate did to you. It's awful. Okay, so now what are we going to do? This one, we want to get to the end of what? 30 periods. We want to get all of them to the end of 30 periods, don't we? This one's already a future value at the end of 30 periods. This is a future value at the end of 40 periods. So we're done with this one. This one's done, right? It's the end of 40 periods. This is only at the end of 10, and we're going to go out to the end of 30 periods because that's how long the interest rate went at 12%, right? So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to take it times 1 plus the interest rate, 1.12 raised to the what, you guys? How many periods between 10 and 30? 20 periods, right? Okay, and what you could do, of course, is you could, so this is a future value, now 40 periods from now, right? I'm treating this one like it's a present value now, right? Future value 10 periods from now, I treat it like it's a present value, and I'm going to compound it for 30 years is all I'm doing. Make sense? 30 for 20 years. Everybody knows I wrote 40, it should have been 30. Future value 30 periods from now, because we're changing interest rates, right? So we have to stop at the end of 30 periods, and then we're going to compound at 5%. So I'm doing 20 periods. I got the 20 right. Okay? This is a future value of a sum table where the number of periods is 20, and the interest rate is still 12%, right, guys? So you could look up that factor if you want, or you could just calculate it. Make sense? What is that factor? 1.12 raised to the 20.
9.6446.
Okay, take that times 105,240, and that's what will happen over that 20 periods of 12%. Right? Keeps doubling every 6 to 7 years. 12%. Okay? So 105,240 times 9.646 is how much? What does that grow up to at the end of 30 years?
1,015,175.
Okay, not bad. Okay, and then let's do this one, but how many years is it going to be? It's only 10 because we're going from the beginning of the 20th year, right? Or actually the end of the 20th year to the end of the 30th year. Okay, right? When that annuity goes. So 1.12 raised to the 10th, what's that?
3.105.
Look what time does to you. 20 periods, 10 periods. Compounding really makes a difference, huh? It's 3 times instead of double, it's more than that. So 210, 480 times 3.105, how much does that grow to by the end of the 30 years?
653,719.
You see the value of investing early, can you? Okay? I wish I had done more. All right. I like having money now. I wasted late earlier. Okay. How long is this one going to go for? It's already at the end of 30 periods. It is, isn't it? So none. To the 0, what's that? 1.12 raised to 0. It's 1. So you take it times 1. So we already had our value, didn't we? So you don't have to model with that, of course. But we've already got that value at the end of 30 periods. So now I have all of them at the end of 30 periods. You guys with me? This is a future value at the end of 30 periods too. All these are at the end of 30 periods. But I need 10 more periods, don't I? So what do I do? It's going to be a future value of a sum again. And this time, what is it going to be? N equals 10. Interest rate equals 5%. You got it. So it's that 1,015,175 times 1.05 raised to the 10th. They kept the years to 10th, right? This one's going to be exactly the same thing, right? Because we were at the end of 30 years on all of them. And there's a variety of ways you could do this. You don't have to take my approach. You could lump them together and do it. All kinds of things. You could add those two together and multiply it out, of course. Okay, what do we do with this one? Take it times what? Put it over here and then take it times what? 1.05 raised to the 10th. Okay? What are we going to do with this one down here? Nothing, because we're already at the end of 40 periods, aren't we? So what's this? You can just tell me what the amounts are if you want. We do the factor 1.05 raised to the 10th. It's the same factor every time. Yeah, what is it? What is 1.05 raised to the 10th? Same factor every time. Well, a dollar.
Why are we doing it for the third time?
Because we were at the end of 30 years and we want to go to the end of 40 years. This is a future value at the end of 40 periods. All of them. Right? I'm only at the end of 30 periods. I want to go to the end of 40. Make sense?
Factor is 1.629.
Okay, and every single one of these is 1.629, isn't it? Take that times each one of them, right? Or you could add the three together and multiply once. Be faster with it. Okay, but it might, if you lay it out like this, it might be easier to see. 1015175 times 1.629. What do you get, gang? What did that first $60,000 you invest turn into by the time you're 40 when you retire, or 62 when you retire? You're kidding me.
Yeah,
I cheated you?
can't add.
Of course not. How far at the off?
Only 2 points.
Why don't you use it instead? Show it to me. Or email me. Give me 2, Keith.
I need those 2 points. I did that on the last quiz.
I did it on 2 quizzes?
What?
I did it on 2 quizzes?
I think so, yeah.
Jeez. Check it out.
Can't get good help these days.
I know. So what did you get for the first one? $1,015,175. That's 1.629.
1,653,613.
Does that make sense that 60,000 turns into $1,700,000? Yes. Yes. It's painful to put it that 6,000 a year away when you're young. But oh my, all those years in the stock market. That's what the market does, or has done, for my lifetime. I spent mine. Okay, anyway, so that 1,600,000 is gone for me. Anyway, what's the next one? 653,719. So this is twice as much money invested, 120. What did it grow to?
1,064,839.
Yeah, and people tell me, no, I can't afford to invest yet. Okay, let's do that. I'm too busy buying cars, yeah, and I'm still buying cars. My wife loves cars. So, what's this going to be? The last one. It's only 301,000, isn't it? Because it's already at the end of 40 years. 869. And you just add. Did I leave one off?
Yeah, you missed
Oh, I skipped one. What was the one before that? Sorry, we have to do that one for. I didn't write it down, did I? How much was that one? It's 315,720 times 1.05 raised to the 10th.
514,274.
Yeah, so that's 18,000. 180,000 only becomes 514. And the last one is still 301,869 because we're already at the end there. Add them all together, and what do you got? Your retirement. Right? So,
So the 301 doesn't change since it's already at the end.
yeah, you're already at the end of 40 periods. That's it. You got it. just getting your head around what's the time. And the author's approach is fine. They like to draw all those timelines. If you're a visual person, that works great. I'm not really very visual. I like perfect numbers and tables and stuff. But it'll work. How much did all that grow to, guys?
I got 3,534,595.
595?
Yeah.
Sound good? Okay, using a calculator, 3,536,208. Using the tables, we're a couple thousand error, but you're predicting future income, so it's good. I took my finance class in my MBA program. I was taught by a guy who went to Wharton, University of Pennsylvania, Wharton. He's one of the best finance schools in the world. And he just finished his PhD, and he came in and he says, I just hate how accountants use tables. Don't they know what they're doing? Why would they use tables instead of using a calculator? And this is when computers were expensive, right? A long time ago. And you didn't have a handheld calculator to do it. But I just don't understand. But everybody should calculate using the math. And so I couldn't resist. And I raised my hand. I says, probably cost me an A. I got a B instead. But anyway, I raised my hand. And I said, well, you know, aren't your cash flows an estimate? Isn't your interest rate an estimate? Isn't when it happens an estimate? So if they're all estimates, why would it matter if we rounded off the factor? Use fewer decimal places. Really, really. I shut up after all it's going to grade me. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you're just making estimates. What if it's a deal and you're going to pay real money? Oh, now I care. Now I care. Would you care about 2,000 when you retire? Of course you'd care about 2,000 when you retire. You want the real money, right? So, yeah. If it's a contract, I want it perfect. If it's just estimating, who cares? Okay, so there's one more thing to do here, right? We're going to take that 3,536 or 3,4,595. We'll use that one. Now that you're 62, you decide to buy an annuity for 30 years, and you have become crazy in your old age, and you're going to earn only 3%. By the way, I think they went crazy when they went to the 5%. If they'd have left that at 12, what would have happened? Oh my. Instead of 1.629, what is that factor? It's 3.105. They gave away half, right? Half of the increase here. Now, you just would have been astronomical at 12%. My money's all going to stay in the stock market until I die because my wife is 10 years younger than me. And then she'll be able to live for the rest of her life. And I'm recommending to her, as long as she doesn't, you run out of money or the market will be insane or something, that she leaves it at that too. And then she can leave stuff to our kids that are, well, not our kids, but our grandkids, right? Yeah. Just the grandkids. Who cares about kids? They should have their own by then. By the time I kick off, they're going to be old people, right? I'm an old person. My dad's still alive. I'm probably not anticipating living off of what he's leaving me, but it might be kind of nice for my kids if he left him some. So, but if he leaves it to me, I'm not giving it to him either. I'll give it to my grandkids. So anyway, what do we do for this now? Take that number and figure it out. What is that now? It's a future value 40 periods from now. What are we going to treat it like? A present value, right? So if I have an investment, if I have an investment where there's a present value, the present value of my investment is how much? It might be 3,534,595. Okay, I'm going to treat that as the present value at the time I retire. Okay, it's really a future value 40 periods from now, but let's treat it as the present value for our calculation. There is, and I want to know how much I'm going to have as an annuity payment. When do I get this payment? I make it at the beginning or the end of the year. Beginning, so I made it an annuity what? Yeah, I just wanted it to be an annuity due payment. This would be kind of weird. You make your investment at the end of the year and immediately start drawing out, but you can if you want, I guess. You're going to go on a big trip, right? Okay, so, all right, anyway, so my annuity due payment. So what I'm going to need then is a factor here for what? Oh, it's a present value of an annuity due. You got it. Interest rate? What's their interest rate? What's their 3%, because we're crazy people. And then number of periods? 30 years we're gonna live, right? We think we are going to die when we are 92? Yeah, not a bad estimate. Probably won't care anymore if you have the money, live on Social Security at that point, right? So we're gonna use it all up anyway, we're gonna take it all out. Okay, so how much do we take out every single year? What's the factor for 3%, 30 periods? That's all we need, present value of an annuity due. Or what you could do in your calculator is put in the present value is 3,000,005, right? Tell the interest rate is 3%, you tell them the number of periods is 30, you tell them the payments at the beginning of the period, right? And it'll tell you what the payment has to be. That's simple. So we'll Excel. What is that factor? If you look up the factor. 3%, 30 periods. Present value of an annuity due.
20.18845.
That's it. Divide it in, and then that's your payment. What do you get? 175,000 or something every year.
And 175.
079. Okay, and if you use the calculator, you get 175, 160. Okay? But it's just an estimate. By the way, that sounds really good, but what if there's been inflation of, say, 2% per year over your lifetime? So you didn't really earn that 12 and 5 and 3, 2% got taken away by inflation. What's it worth then? What's that 175,000 going to be like in today's dollars? That sounds really good if you were 22 years old now and you're retired or you're starting your career. Well, 175 when I retire, I'm pretty happy, right? Well, Social Security maybe. What would you do? Times 1 over 1.02. That was the answer, by the way. Raised to the what? Well, you're taking it in the first year, so let's just say what it would be worth in the first year. 40 years out from now, right? So let's just do 40. You could do 70, right? The last payment's going to be, that's what it's going to be worth. You do 70, right? So you're making less every year, of course, with inflation. So what does that come up to? 1.0, 1 over 1.02. That's a present value of some factor, 40 periods, right? Then take it times 175. What do you get?
79,291.
I don't like it as much, do you? You're not saving enough money. Oh, man. And if you do it 70 years, it's really ugly, isn't it? Okay? It'd be much, much less. But let's do one more thing, okay? You guys calculate this for me, okay? It'll take a couple more minutes. Tell me if you had left the interest rate at 12% the whole time, how much you would have had. And then leave the money invested at 12%. What can you take out? Now, obviously, it might not work because you might earn less than that. And this is predicting. So, you know, if you retired and bought the stock market, went to 50% of what it was, you know, you might get really hurt. But my point's going to be, you'd still be better off if you left it in as well. So take the bad years with the good years. You're going to get the bad years. Sorry. It's painful. My wife has a coronary every time the market goes way down. And then it bounces back up over time. The last dip went to about 6,000. Now it's 18. Went from 13 to 6,500 or something. And the Dow Jones. And now it's at almost 8, what, 7. Still a lot better off. Can you do that? A calculation? What's going to change here? Where would you start changing?
Instead of doing the down to
Instead of doing the 1.05, yeah. So what you could do is you could add 1015175, 653,719. Oh, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to recalculate this last one though. You have to calculate this one at 12%, right? So you have to calculate that last annuity and then add up this one, and this one. Does that make sense? And then whatever this one changes to, which is going to be much more, at 12% is going to be much more. You can do that really quickly, can't you? See what I'm saying? You guys try that. And then tell me if you leave it invested at 12%, what's your annual amount you can take out? You're not going to believe it. What happens to us? I'm asking you to do? Are you guys getting the feeling of how valuable this skill is in the real world? Nice. Valuing businesses, valuing business people. Negotiate how much your salary should be.
It's a car loan.
Yes. Yeah. Buying a house.
Bring out the intermediate book.
I would drive people nuts. Go and buy cars. And when I used to buy it instead of my wife, I would go in. And then they used to jerk you around a lot more. Now there's too much competition. There's too many of those online things, you know, so everybody gets about the same price now. But, I mean, you still get away money if you like. But I don't, they're going to calculate the payment for me, go upstairs and find out what the payment is. I pick up my calculator and show them what the payment is. You don't need to, I know what payment is. They thought I was brilliant. Because I am, right? I know how to do something that makes you brilliant. I don't think so. I want to see if all four of you give the same number. You can use the 1015175, right? You can use the 653,719. You can use the 315,725. Is that what that was? Those are all good. But you need to recalculate the 301,869. Then you can add that to those other three. What did you get when you did redid the 301,869 that add 12% instead of 5?
421,200.
Anybody else get that number?
Yes.
Okay, sound good? Okay, good. Right? That's just doing it at 12% for 10 periods. Okay, instead of 5%. Okay, is that right? Sound good? Okay. So 421,2 plus 315,720, so it is, plus 653,719 plus 101,5175. That's how much you would have at the end of what, 30 periods? Oh shoot, this is 40 periods already. These are at the end of 30 periods. Add this one, add the 101.5, add the 653, add the 315, and take that amount times 1.12 for 10 periods, right? And then add to that the 421.2, right? Because the 421.2 is already at the end of 40 periods. So everything else is the end of 30. Does that make sense?
Not taking that 421.
Don't put it in, because we're not going to get 10 years on that, are we? It's only 421. So now we don't have the 301 anymore. Instead, we have this 421.2. But that's at the end of 40 years. So 101.5, 175 plus 653,719 plus 315,720. All of that times 1.12 raised to the 10th, right? And then that amount, add 421,200 to it. And that's our new terminal value, we call that, right? The new
How
amount
much
we're
we
going
can
to
take out?
Yeah, so how much is that, by the way? What does it grow to? Let's get that.
6,585,109.
Look at that. Because we kept taking risk for the last 10 years, we almost doubled our wealth. Get it? We're going to turn you guys into monsters. And most people would disagree with you. They're like, oh, no, you need to get conservative. You're an old man. Only if I'm going to die, I guess. Then I don't want to be conservative. I want to spend it, right? I'm going to go travel around the world. I knew I was going to die, but you don't know. You might live forever. So, well, maybe not. So that's the amount now that you're going to do an annuity on, right? So instead of putting the 3534 in here, put that 6585109 in there. And instead of using 3%, what are we going to do, guys? 12%. Leave it at 12. How big does that payment go to? It's not 175 anymore, is it? What is it? 12%, 30 periods. Present value is 6585109. Solve for the annuity due payment.
At 12%.
At 12%.
30.
It's big, isn't it? Is it really? 729? Well, it might be, it's 12%.
12%, 30 years.
729,
Present value for the GPD.
yeah,
910.
729, 910. Would you rather have that or 175? What if the stock market cuts in half? Well, then I guess you get half of that. That's still way more. If it cuts in half right at the end of your term. And by the way, the market goes up and down over time. If I was within a year or two of retiring, I might lock it in. Maybe. If I thought I had to live on it. But if I'm going to leave it to my grandkids, I'm sure it's certainly not going to lock it in. Why would I do that? So then what does that do if there's only 2% inflation? Take 2% out of that number now. So it's the same calculation, 729, 910 times 1 over 1.02 raised to 40. Instead of having, in today's dollars, 79,000, what would you have? Sound like a better investment strategy to you or what? Don't get scared when you get older. What do people tend to do as they get older? More and more conservative. Be rational all your life if you can. Until the brain cells are gone. Enough? This is a good way to do present values and future values. When you're working the other problems now, think about what you did here. You can do anything, right? You can calculate anything. Read very carefully. Let yourself think. Did you guys get the 335.69 you just got? Did you get it too? Good. Yeah, we're good. No, we got there. Okay. Good deal. Thanks for spending the time again.
Did you get the key?
Yeah, thank you. I got it. Appreciate it.
See you, Keith.
You work hard.
I will.
Be here tomorrow for next test.
Thanks.